Hello,
Hi.
I'm Vanessa Simone,
And I'm Mimi Hayes.
and we are the Girls Next Pour. And today we're bringing to you a pretty insane topic that I think everyone struggles with as a creative. And Mimi, what is that topic?
Art versus algorithm.
And
how do you be a creative in a world that rewards virality versus authenticity?
yes, how do we continue to create when the world is like our algorithms are just like viral, 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 viral. So,
And they change all the time. I used to work in marketing and we could never get a handle on what was trending, when to use hashtags, what hashtags to use, what words to use. It's just like SEO and just all this complicated stuff, and the rules would change every week, you know? So how to kick off this episode? I guess let's talk about going viral. Have you ever been viral before?
Yes, I've gone viral several times. The first time I went viral was for literally, I was eating avocado toast. So just taking a bite, and that went viral.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was literally, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
That's silly. I forgot about that moment.
Yeah. And then,
did you say anything, or you just took a bite?
I was literally just like, look, we made avocado toast. Boom.
How viral did that go?
That was like in 2020. That was like 250,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's yeah.
We were in a weird place then.
Yeah, I know. That was So that was one of them. And then, what about you? What's one from you?
I had so the first ones I saw go viral, I think I want to say 2021, and I had like a fuckboy video where I was using there was this guy who used to make super funny songs out of Facebook conversations.
Oh yeah, okay.
And before that, do you have
before
any
that?
kids?
Yeah.
Before that guy,
Mm-hmm.
Lubalin or something. He's like this guy with this like crazy long like dark hair. But it was like, is this still? It was like one of those Facebook Marketplace conversations. Like, is this still available? Go away, leave me alone. I wish I could remember it, but we'll have to like link it to the show notes. But I had just gotten love bombed from a guy across the country who had come to Colorado and loved up on me, met my parents, bought my mom flowers, and then booked it the other direction. And so I was kind of making fun of like, he vibes with me, and then all of a sudden he's like, get away from me.
He's like,
and then I actually had a fan blowing with my hair going back. And so that was my first probably a couple 100,000 views. And it's like a thrill because the first time you go viral,
it's like, so exciting, and it's definitely a dopamine rush.
Yeah. And then I went viral for my TED Talk, which wasn't super viral, but to me it was only like 50,000 views, but it was like the first day it came out, which to me was huge. And then it kind of plateaued.
Yeah.
But it was full of haters. It was full of people that hated my TED Talk.
Hey, but you did a TED Talk. They didn't. So.
Didn't feel great. And I was definitely in a spiral for a minute about that. We should also talk about like going viral. The trolls that could, like, have you had trolls before?
Not like you.
Okay. Just me. It's just
I don't know how I went through that, but I was up in there trolling them back for sure. I was absolutely
an anti-troll.
Yeah.
A troll to the trolls. So you went for avocado toast. I got love bombed. How else have you gone viral?
And then I also went viral for when, I don't know if earlier in 2025, when Red Note came out, the Chinese version of their TikTok, I was on there and making a video, and that went viral, like 4.5 million views. And then I made a video about California, 2 videos about California. One of me just randomly met this guy in the middle of Manhattan Beach, and he showed me the whole neighborhood, and I talked about that story. And then that was about 500,000. And then another video, the other California video is like, I think 4 million maybe. I don't remember, but
And for that one, for the Red Note one, you made it to the New York Times.
Yeah, I did make it to the New York Times. I forgot about that. Yeah, they reached out and they were like, and she calls me and she's like, girl, you're on the New York Times. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what could I have done that's New York Times worthy?
It was one of those like roundup videos where they're like, here's what's trending, and you show a bunch of TikToks in a row. And you popped up, and I was like, I literally like was on the New York Times,
which is
and
crazy.
I saw you, and I was like, you've got to be kidding
You're
me.
like, you're joking me right now. You've got to be kidding me.
My most viral was for fainting in front of my brain surgeon. And that one is upwards of 6-7 million.
Jeez, wow.
And that was such a shock. That was in 2023. And I uploaded it to Instagram first, and it started taking off, and I was like, surely that won't happen on the other one.
Yeah.
So then I posted it on TikTok, and same thing, just millions upon millions. And the comment section was kind of encouraging and made me feel less alone, because I have this thing where I faint every time I get stressed in a medical setting. So if I'm doing a blood draw, or if I'm at an appointment, or even if you start talking about a health issue that you're having, I will get this trigger happen and I will literally faint. I've been doing this since I was a kid. And it's kind of always been dismissed, and it's like, oh, you're dramatic, or you're never going to be able to have kids if you keep fainting. And I'm like, well, joke's on you. I'm never gonna.
You're like, okay, well.
But it's like this thing. It's a medical condition called vasovagal syncope. And so I post this video. I faint in front of my brain surgeon in the doctor's office, which you're not technically allowed to film in there. But I think because I explained it to him and I said, I'm recording this meeting because I don't want to forget what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Because I've already had a brain bleed before, and this is the second one I'm having, and I want to make sure I get every point that you're saying. I want to have it on tape, so if I need to go back to it, I can hear what you're saying. And so he was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, he didn't care. So I had my phone propped up on the, back counter. And then he says the word benign. And that triggers my ass. And benign is not a bad word.
Yeah, it literally means nothing. Yeah.
The comment section, people are like, benign isn't cancer. And I was like, I know.
But
my brain can't tell the difference. And so I heard benign, and I start like going through the things. I start getting clammy. I start handing things to my mom because I'm holding all this crap in my hands. I'm just like handing her shit. I take off my mask. And then I finally have to tell him I'm fainting because I know better than to just not communicate this anymore. I've really pulled computers off tables. Like, wow. If you don't communicate, you're going to faint. You're going to wreck shit. Like, it's really extreme.
We need to reenact this in a skit for sure.
We'll definitely put this one in the show notes for sure. But I just kind of like, I go back like a mummy. I'm just kind of like... bye. And millions of women, especially women in the comments, are like, this happens to me too. And that's most of my comments are, this happens to me too. With a sprinkling of, this is fake, you made this up. You're just looking for attention, right? So I kind of got a little taste of the trolls there. But then kind of more recently, I've been going viral, small amounts of viral, about my disability and being honest. And again, it was another one of those, do you have any kids? Yes, I have one daughter. How about you? And I did that about boarding planes early, pre-boarding, when they call for disabilities. And so I get up because it is very helpful for me to pre-board. If I'm having a migraine, if I'm having light sensitivity, whatever it is I'm going through that day, if I'm having symptoms, I will get up and go with disabilities because I'm disabled. I don't have a cane. I don't have a device. I'm not in a wheelchair. Right. But I identify as disabled. And you should as well. If I say that, you should just take my word for it. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And bunch of comments in there, the trolls found me and they're saying, you're the worst kind of person. Like, you're the person who's faking it. I'm like, okay, tell that to my brain surgeon. Like, you don't know what's on my scans. You don't know who I am. And being talked about as if you're not there in the comments is super crazy for me because I'm like,
It's kind of out of body experience.
I'm literally a person. I'm
Yeah.
a human being. And they just talk about you like you're not there. And they just troll the shit out of you. And then your best friends come in and they're like, you're a piece of ass! You know, it's like we have to call them off at some point. And yeah, so mine have been really like painful. Like when I go viral, I don't want to go viral for this. I don't want to be identified as this thing that people make me out to be. Same thing with when I got my tubes tied. I had to shut down the comment section for that because it was so horrifying. I got my tubes tied the week after Trump got elected. And I'm in the hospital and I've got all the wires hooked up to me. My dad's sitting next to me. I'm just coming out of like my surgery. And I went to that audio that's like, ha ha ha, fuck them kids and fuck you too. And I just said that into the camera and I posted it without caring because I'm like, I'm not having kids. This is me announcing to the world I'm not having kids and I'm super excited about it. And the Trumpers and the conservatives,
that was insane.
They went for me in a way that was so out of pocket that I had to shut down. I didn't want to go more viral for that. I had to shut it down, because it was like wrecking me. I had to go touch grass. Yeah. So it's not all it's cracked up to be. When you go viral, it's usually not intentional. Like it's usually for something you didn't plan. Avocado toast. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of going off of that, because when you're like, my content is, what is your content about?
Invisible disability, humor, dark humor, daily life.
Right. And mine is about like women in their 30s enjoying singlehood and all that stuff. And so going viral for things that don't pertain to you doesn't actually help you. Because even though I went viral and you gain a ton of followers and things from those videos, that doesn't actually create a community. I learned that many times the hard way because it's fun to go viral. I'm not gonna lie, it is. Well, when a good video goes viral, it's fun. Like when it's positive and it's fun. But when it doesn't actually deliver to your bottom line, and as a creative, we have to remember like our creativity is what comes first. And how are you going to still create in the midst of these vanity metrics and low views and things like that? Because right now, so we're in the middle right now, you're seeing this, I don't know when you're seeing this, but it is December and it's Vlogmas. So basically Vlogmas, if you're not like a content creator, is when a lot of content creators or influencers or people in the social media space will do 25 days of them basically creating content and posting every single day. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I've never done it before. And this actually started back in the YouTube days, the YouTube era. I remember Jackie Ina, the big YouTubers used to do Vlogmas. And so now it's every year. It's pretty much been a thing since then. And the reason why I'm doing it is to challenge myself personally. It's kind of like a selfish thing because I want to learn more editing styles and skills. And I want to learn to show up for myself every single day. And most importantly, I want to know that I can make a promise to myself to be consistent. I am the worst at being consistent when it comes to honestly anything. So if I can do 25 days or the whole 31 days of December doing vlogs, then it's going to give me and build the confidence that like, no, I can make a promise to myself to be consistent. I really can put my mind towards something. And when I do, it actually gives me more confidence into my art. And I'm also learning a lot. It's only day 6, which I'm like, God damn,
you're burned out.
Because it takes me like 2 hours to edit. I don't know if I'm slow. I don't know. It is a long editing process. Right. And so it's really fun to learn though, because I'm figuring out what is tracking, what things I actually like putting into it. And when I think about the skills that I'm gaining from it, I'm like, one day, because one of my dreams is to be a movie producer or TV show producer for some of like the books that I want to write and things like that. And this editing is helping me learn how much goes into it. And this is just the social media side. This isn't even on like an actual movie or premiere or like some big production side. So I'm thinking of it as more as every single day. It's like my practice. It's my practice, my baby steps to get where I want to be. And also with doing this Vlogmas, also talking to the camera, I realize how many filler words I use when I am talking on social media, the likes, ands, ums. And so this is practice for public speaking, because that's another thing that I want to get into as well. So I'm trying to think of it as helpful to enhance my art versus the metrics that come with it. And so
Right.
that's like been a very big steep learning curve, but I'm actually really glad that I'm participating in something like this to challenge myself this December. But for you as an artist, like what is the, I guess what's the, what is something that you're not going to let discourage you or kind of keep you continue to do your art even though there's the numbers there, right?
I wanted to go back to that because you said, your end goal is to enhance your craft.
Right.
And so I think that's super important when you're making any kind of art.
Right.
Is not like I'm looking at this and it's, oh my God, it's not getting enough views or it's not getting enough readers or whatever it is. I don't have enough reviews. But the process involved, right? So for me, what keeps me motivated is it is a bit on the coaching side, helping other people and building the community piece, helping other writers like enjoy the writing process and telling them where I get stuck so that when they get stuck in that place, we can battle it together.
Right.
Because there are so many places where you want to quit. There's so many times.
Yes.
And now as an artist, you have to be a content creator, a marketer, an email list person, an actor, this, you have to be like all these different things. I saw this quote the other day and it was like, all Ernest Hemingway had to do was be an alcoholic.
I know, God, why couldn't I have been that? Jeez.
So it's like, you have to adapt. And so like, if you're not into social media and you don't even have a platform, that's okay too. But just realizing that like, that's going to be a part of it if you want to get better at it and grow your audience and your community. And that's something I want to improve on too, is like on my business social media. I'm so quiet on my business side of my social media, but that's where I should be putting out the most content because I want to find other writers and I want to find people who are in the dumps like me, looking for an agent, looking for a publisher, like even just getting the manuscript done, and so there's just so much content that I need to be making to get that point across and to meet those people. And I think at the end of the day, like I've made a lot of connections over social media with my content as a disabled creator, and being vulnerable, who cares if you get 5 views? Like those 5 views are people that are in your inbox going, this video meant so much to me.
Right.
Like, and I've had that happen to me where I'm just like pooping out social media.
Yeah.
And someone's like, oh, this is like the best thing you've ever done. And I connect so much with you. And it's like, that's meaningful. So just because I'm not making money on social media doesn't really matter as long as I have that person that got to see it because I put it out in the first place.
Right. And then also going along that, it makes you realize you're truly doing it for the love of the art, not the love of the views, not the love of the who's going to see this. You're truly doing it because your essence is an artist. You want to be putting that art out there, regardless of whether someone views it as, deems it as actual art or whatever, or if it gets the amount of views or the amount of attention that you want. It's bringing it back to the art itself and the creative process and you being creative. And so I think that's also very important. But I kind of want to shift too and talk about because I know being like me getting more like into acting and like that side of things, but it's been interesting seeing like and hearing things about people getting booked because of the amount of followers they have versus the amount of talent. And I kind of want to talk about how do you continue to, get crafty, do your craft, and not let those things not let this person have so many more followers and then they get booked kind of like discourage you.
Yeah, and I would say on my side that's very real because to be an author now, a published author, they do really expect you to have a following because they're basing their ability to sell your book on how much of your following you have. And so I had an agent tell me, this was for my first book. I was trying to get my first book published. And she said, I like your idea. It's kind of cool, but I'm looking for someone with more Twitter followers. Like that's literally what she said in the email. And I was like, oh, okay. And I could have taken that to heart and like really like built my platform there. But you know, like it's still not impossible for
Mm-hmm.
anyone. It's just in terms of nonfiction, because
Right.
you are writing a true story, it matters who's telling the story. And if you have more visibility, you are more likely to get published.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a real reality that we deal with as authors, is like balancing, am I building my platform enough?
Mm-hmm.
And what about the actual book itself? Is it any good? Am I focusing on the creating of the book? So it is a real reality. It's a tough reality. If you're not on social media as an author, I'd say start a Substack. I'd say start a
Mm-hmm.
place where you like start a blog. Like that's where I started. And I've built, it's very small still, but I have like a couple hundred people who like
Mm-hmm.
will read my emails and will read what I
Right.
have to say. And so the more that you can present that and say, hey, here's my people, the more likely you are to get a publishing contract.
Yeah. And that's the same with even like comedy, even with almost a lot of different portions of the arts is, and it's kind of unfortunate because there's a balance, right? People do want the followership because at the end of the day, sadly, it does come down to sales. But when we're artists, it's like, okay, continue to put your art out there and continue to like let your artist light shine through through what you're putting out there. But it is important to build community, and it's actually kind of helpful in a way to build community because then you have other people who you can like bounce ideas off of, kind of like you were saying. You can figure out what, like, maybe, I mean, I don't know, some artists can be gatekeepy, but I feel like I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm like, here's the contact here, you know.
Yeah.
And you can end up finding your people as well as your tribe. But building that community, what's nice about that is when you have like your Substack, or if you have a subscription list or any of those things, it still is giving you more publicity to your art that never, like, that we didn't have 20 years ago, you know, that we didn't have 30 years ago. You know, you can literally, you're probably emailing somebody across the country or across the world you don't know, and they're seeing your art without, you know, they might not have been able to see that back then before a lot of these things happened. So, and then also it just sets you up for, one day we're going to talk about like monetizing as an artist, but you can utilize that to start to build a career off of your community that you've built, you know. And so that's important too. But when it comes to the art and people who are in power, who get to basically book the actors or book the like the booking agents and all those things, and they're taking all these things into consideration, like one of my long-term goals is to be that person, and to be the person kind of like what John M. Chu with like Wicked. So Wicked was supposed to be technically two like unknown people. They did end up obviously booking Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. And Cynthia Erivo, she's done work and stuff, but she obviously wasn't as famous as Ariana. But now she's had, because of her being in this Wicked, in the Wicked series, her career has now catapulted. And I'm like, that, I want to be like that one day. So I'm trying to figure out the steps and the things like that. But I also want to be the person who's like, I want to book for talent because you are, I want to book for talent because there's great talent, you know, not just because somebody has great social media following or whatever.
Yeah,
So
and I think it's the system is flawed
yeah.
severely, because I've heard of comedians, okay, TikTok comedians.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of these viral people on TikTok that they brand themselves as comedians and then they start getting booked as stand-up comedians, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not stand-up comedians. They're
Yeah.
TikTokers.
Mm-hmm.
And so they struggle to really overcome that learning curve because
Right.
they haven't actually been in comedy clubs. They haven't been
Right.
doing that work. And so I think you can look at someone's following and be like, wow, what a great comedian. Let's throw them in these clubs. And then be like, oh, they're kind of struggling because
Yeah.
they don't work with a live audience.
Yeah.
They only work with
Mm-hmm.
their
They work
phone.
with their phone
And same thing
and
with like
phone
actors
audience.
too. Like I
Yeah.
think that there is a flawed system of mistaking amount of followers for talent.
Mm-hmm.
When we know that's all those people that are following that person, that's not necessarily their community. That's not
Yeah.
their people. That's not someone who would be
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm going to fly across the country to see them in concert.
You're right.
Like
Exactly.
maybe some of them are
Maybe.
like, you
Yeah.
know, but I love that you want to be like the gatekeeper in the best way, that you're like, I'm gonna actually source out talent, maybe how they used to, with like models could get discovered in
right
like
in at the
shopping
mall,
malls.
and yeah, exactly.
You know, and you'd be like, hey, like I see something in you that you might not even see yourself, you know. And a lot of actors used to be plucked that way, you know, out of environments and in the right place at the right time. But also I want to touch on, you know, Cynthia Erivo. Like, it takes, I've heard the saying, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Exactly. Yeah. Because
And
she's been in, she's been
doing
in
the work
Harriet,
the
she's
whole
been
time.
singing,
Yeah.
she has been doing this. And so it also, that's a whole nother topic too, but almost when we go back to art versus the algorithm, by doing your art every single day, you are preparing for the moment that it happens, right? I am not expecting to go viral for any of my Vlogmas ideas. I don't think I want to yet because they're not good. But I'm learning, and this actually goes back to bring Wicked into it again. But Ariana, when she heard an inkling of Wicked being cast, she immediately went and got opera lessons, got all these other lessons to prepare her to be the Glinda role before the auditions even began. And so, with us as artists, we have to remember that every day we're practicing on our art, right? Because then when the opportunity does arise, like let's say you are a comedian or you are like a painter or something, and you have this huge opportunity, you're able to step into that occasion, right? Cynthia Erivo's been practicing. She couldn't just sing Defying Gravity, just some rando off the street who sang 3 times, you know? She's been preparing her voice and preparing herself for a moment, for like a time just like this. And so every day that we're practicing and putting it out there, it's like we're doing it for our soul, right? We're doing it for our future self, and we're doing it to give our future self opportunities to get our dreams to come true, right? But in the midst, we have to really enjoy that process and not be so focused on the virality or the numbers or all these vanity metrics that don't really, like, yes, they matter, but the ultimate thing is to remember the art comes from the soul.
And what my favorite thing is when you like think about your favorite comedians or actors or singers. I love seeing their old shitty art.
Yes. Yes.
Like when you come across like, oh, here's like, you know, Dave Chappelle or whoever, like when they were like 20 years old and they're making this shitty home video. Like I love that shit because it shows you that like we are all just people trying to make our way, and like you're gonna look back on that shitty art someday and be like, wow, I've come so far, you know. And so you have to make the shitty art in the first place, because then you're never gonna get to the higher level of what you see for yourself. But you have to make the shitty stuff. You have to keep going.
You gotta start somewhere.
Do it for nobody. Believe me, I've done one-woman shows for 2 people. In a warehouse in the middle of Scotland, and I still had to put on the show of my life. And so like you can't just go, oh, it doesn't matter because no one's here. It matters tremendously, and it matters to you. And that's a tell if you're like a real artist, I feel, because if you can do it for 2 people, you are ready to do it for 200. But if you're like, oh, that's not good enough,
good enough, then you're never
going to get better. You're never going to get better because it's such a challenge to do a whole one-woman show, an hour-long show to 2 people. You feel so embarrassed. You're like, oh, God, like, I couldn't just get more people here.
Like, that's humbling.
Like, it's so humbling. And even, like, I'm born and raised from Denver. I cannot draw a crowd in Denver. To this day, people here don't want to see me. And I'm from here. And I have had bigger audiences across the world than in the place where I was raised, where the most amount of people know me. And that's not an indicator of my ability. It just is what it is. And so like you have to put on the show of your life for 2 people sometimes. And you have to just be like, all right, that's just what it is. And someday it's going to be 200, 2,000, 2 million people. And I have to, like you said, prepare yourself, get better at the craft, so that when you get that opportunity, you can really capitalize on it. And you're ready emotionally, spiritually to have that breakthrough. You know, it's telling when an artist burns out because they're not ready for that.
They're not ready for it. That level. Yeah. I mean, I even want to talk about Issa Rae was she had this amazing YouTube series. It was like The Adventures of the Awkward Black Girl or something. And I remember when it came out, my sisters and I would binge watch her YouTube. And now she's out just producing shows and stuff, but she had to start somewhere. And so even with our podcast right now, like
Five people are going to see this.
Literally. Maybe one, maybe your mom, my mom, two, maybe, maybe it's me and you,
Yeah.
But even, you look at our setup, we look at all these things. It's like, we have to start somewhere. We're not in this for the perfection. We're in this for the art and the love of it.
Mm-hmm. And to just challenge ourselves. Can we do this for nobody?
Yeah.
And just really, at the end of the day, it's for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the excitement we get being on the mic.
Yeah, just being the mic.
We love microphones.
We're attention whores. It's fine.
We love the lights. We love being, perceived, I guess. And so, that's a place to start, is just, do it for yourself. Just be like, all right, audience of one, it's me and my art. What am I going to make today? What am I going to do? You might surprise yourself. You might make your best art when you're not thinking about
when you're not thinking about all the things. And make sure you clear your head so you're not thinking about all the other things.
And you can't control the algorithm.
You can't control the you can't control any outcome. So that's why the art has to matter, is because you cannot control how anybody reacts to what it is that you put out there, or the societal or global whatever reaction. The only thing you can control is the art that you do.
Yeah, facts.
I
think that's the mic drop right there.
I want to drop the mic, but I don't want to break them.
We don't erect these nice
these are really nice. They were gifted. By my sister. Thank you, Crystal. All
right, I think that's it for today.
We'll see you next time on The Girls Next Door.
Bye.